what industry or area would you like to see disrupted or changed next?
Well, look, I'll hit off. It looks like it's come through the system. I think the clean energy industry is so essential to this world that I'd love to see more and more and more of you out there building clean energy companies. In the Paris talks, it was decided that by 2050 we're going to be carbon neutral, the whole world. Pretty well every country in the world, 190 countries signed to that. There's a lot of work to be done to get to carbon neutral by 2050. There's a lot of money to be made by getting to carbon neutral by 2050 by the clean energy companies. And so just would love to see as many brains going into that as possible. Otherwise, we're going to have a messed up world for our grandkids.
Shula, what would you like to see
The
disrupted?
education system. I'm very concerned of how education is failing so many of our brightest minds. And we've got to get a handle on this because we're losing talent left and right.
Donna?
So I think carbon zero for sure, but education I think is the one that I would focus on. We've made the shift from an industrial to a digital economy, and we have not yet begun to even imagine the impact that that's going to have on our students and our population. Where are the jobs going to be? What are the skills that people will need when the computer can do so much of what the human used to do? And how do we get out in front of that and prevent a global crisis that will impact the economy of our entire world?
Kevin, last one's to you.
First of all, for the entrepreneurs in the room, anyone who describes their company as the Uber of, or uses the word disruptor like in the second or in the first paragraph, like stop it. Just stop it. Just stop it. Please, we get it. For me though, number one, I pride myself on like if I have a goal in life, like I want to be a global citizen. Like I want to be defined as a global citizen, not of any one region and small business, mid-Atlantic, local, but that's the greatest, to be a professional and to be a global citizen are that's my highest compliments for any human being. As I think about it though, I'll reference where I think there's an opportunity for disruption because I'll characterize it as an American problem, but it's certainly a global problem. And it's something that I live and experience every single day in a city like Baltimore, Maryland. And I believe that in all of the urban centers, mostly around the world, and certainly here in America, that there are two cities everywhere. Because when I was watching Anderson Cooper on CNN and claiming that Baltimore was burning down, it didn't look that way from my office on the Inner Harbor and watching what was happening. And I think that there needs to be, and this is something that I'm incredibly passionate about with Baltimore as a bit of a palette for if you can find the right infusion of the right formula where we can find the right amount of gentrification, the right amount of attraction of business, the right amount of not displacement, but certainly empowering and finding a way to embrace our cities. Because when I traveled 250,000 miles last year alone. And when I travel the world and you go to Shanghai or you go to Beijing or you go to Hong Kong or Chongqing, which is the largest city in the world in China, with the only reason I figured out how to say the name appropriately is because the guy who works for me's name is Sean King. And somebody said, just say his name really quickly. But as I went on this tour with Stephen Curry last year, and I'm in this mall, and there's tens of thousands of people turning out to watch Stephen Curry shoot three-pointers and saying, look at the urbanization that's happening. Cities are one of the greatest assets of the world because they invite arts and culture and diversity and all these things that are so great. And I don't think that we've created the perfect formula for how the modern city of the future should live. And I think there's lots of great companies contributing to it, like Uber, et cetera, but it'll be my call to action, my challenge to the political class to say, you figure out how to make us the perfect model city that we can then replicate over and over again here at home in America as well as abroad.